inadvertently assumed this was a final.
This is not a semi-final at Worlds.
Yeah, no one walks home with a cup at the end unless they bought a coffee, you know? All right, let's dive into it. Round 2 between Gen.G and T1. This time around, side selection. Over to Gen.G. They'll start with a Kalista ban. We have seen a bit of Gumayusi targeting in the bans here, but I think this is a good pivot as they take away the Pantheon, identifying that Oner is the most important member of this team.
It's a B1 Xin Zhao, right? That's what the Gen.G is looking for. The Pantheon ban to deny the trade, and then unless T1 ban it themselves, that is going to be the lock-in. If the Xin Zhao does get banned, I think Azir feels the most likely as a B1 pick, which then most likely will be answered by like Ahri Jace. That's what I'm looking towards. But we did see Keen pull out the Nidalee, which, as was later clarified, was due to a communication issue, because I think Coach Kim's headset was not quite working, and then it's like the equivalent of the scene, you know, from Community where you come back, you're like, what have you guys done?
Yeah, what
has
done?
happened? Why is Keen on Nidalee?
I've left you alone for 2 minutes!
Why is he not on a tank? As there is the no-brainer, but that does mean that Oner gets Xin Zhao. And I don't think Canyon can pull out the Kazakhs, because let's be real, Kazakhs right now isn't the champion. But that was kind of the highlight of my 2024 spring finals. That was such a hype moment. I think T1 are just going to pick it, though. Xin Zhao, Ahri make complete sense when it comes to the power picks right now. When it comes to comfort, this is always going to get locked in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is never really a thing. Maybe it's Victor, that would be the other one, but I think with Xin Zhao, I think the Ahri just makes sense.
Well, the Ahri is going to be the consideration, at least for now, and that will be locked in. Yeah, we're going pretty tier list right now, pretty cookie cutter, but it makes a whole lot of sense. This is such an incredible duo. We've seen it work out time and time again.
Poppy Jace?
And remember in our previous series, we actually listed off the players that have won in the Ahri versus matchup.
I wanted Poppy Jace, not Skarner Jace. I knew the Skarner was likely, though. Gen.G has been one of the few teams that have been able to continuously make this pick work. The win rate has already dropped. A lot of teams have struggled into it, and it's one of those things on paper, playing Skarner into short-range compositions is good.
Yeah.
It's just that in practice, a lot of teams have kind of experienced the fact that if you're playing Skarner into Xin Zhao, into Pantheon, into Vi, if she's somehow open, or Wukong, your team fights just feel way less impactful. You don't have nearly as much damage, so your coordination needs to be so crisp. Fortunately for Gen.G, that's not an issue for them, as this has become one of the rising priority picks into the Jace. There are two answers that we really see often. There's the hands answer, which is Nidalee, and then there is the I can shrug off the early game. And you don't even often fall that far behind. I think Sign comes online when it comes to tankiness too early for Jace to really abuse him. We'll see if Doran can just make that happen in this game as well.
Yeah, I'm really interested. Of course, this has been like the win condition for T1 in more recent times. It's give Doran something that can team fight well and absorb pressure on the other side of the map. Sion's perfect for this. We've seen it already that when he picks Sion, he gets the job done. And already the core is really starting to look good here for T1. All you need now is some sort of utility pick for Gumayusi there towards the bottom side of the map, or something that can put on a lot of pressure in the laning phase. And T1 really have crafted exactly what they want. Gen.G, on the other hand, is looking like a fair bit of teamfight power. Canyon, I think, to me, is the only one with a Skarner license. Like, no one else has really been able to make it work. We've had theories that perhaps Gen.G has just been slaughtering teams with Skarner in scrims, and they just think the pick's good, when actually it's just not. Canyon's just good.
The Skarner Corky incident of last week?
Yes, yes. That's where some eyebrows have been raised. We need some sleuths to figure it out, as Gumayusi gets his most iconic champion of all time. Gen.G really going for hard mode this time around.
Xayah does make sense into this comp. Can struggle into the lethality Varus if he finds a lead. If it is lethality, which is not a given. This is a type of game with the front line you have where you can certainly also play towards the on-hit. You have enough space with the Xin Zhao and the Sion. The Poppy ban, understandably, because Keria always wants to play for counter pick, but it is kind of rough here, because you'd love to have gone that yourself, as this was a thing that has actually, I know Keria has played. I think he's going to last minute swap to Nautilus or Rel.
Maybe they're taunting Gen.G because they're like, oh no, our coach actually does have their headset plugged in. And so it's not going to be the Nidalee, it's going to be the Renata.
I also know he played it himself. So like, I'm like double spear, like a spear and an arrow for a Xayah, but I also think that maybe, that's like a game 4 thing.
It might have been a bridge too far or something like that. Renata going to come in, and so going to be able to deal with the Rakan relatively effectively.
I have a hard time imagining more perfect drafts for either team.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe Kenyon on the carry, but Kenyon has been also a big tank player recently.
Ooh,
so we have
yawning going on the side of T1. We'll see whether that affects them. Unless it was just a contagious situation.
Well, now I'm feeling it as well. And that core for T1, Varus, Ahri, Xin Zhao. Their brawling has been almost second to none. But if Gen.G, in the classic Gen.G way, can just cement laning leads, turn them into strong front-to-back team fights, I find it hard to see for how T1 is going to outfight them later into the game. But their front-to-back, even then, will always be respectable. It's just that it's Gen.G with Skarner Azir. The nameplates do a lot of heavy lifting there.
They certainly
Xayah, by the way, we haven't talked about yet, but Xayah Rakan?
Yeah, and I've heard that that Rule is pretty good at Xayah.
Yeah.
He has been able to make it happen on this champion in the past. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether it's going to work out here as T1, as we mentioned already, a very T1 draft moving here into game number 1. We'll see whether they can take down a Gen.G. Imagine if they do it on red side. Let's get into it. And LOL Park erupts as the T1 fan chants ring through. Of course, Gen.G, loads of fans as well. And so things are getting heated, one could say, both figuratively and actually, here in LOL Park. All right, let's see whether any early game shenanigans do occur. We can see right now it is largely a defensive start. Doran with a potential roam over. Could be a little bit frightening. But we'll just be able to move back towards this top side of the map.
How many grasps is enough? And how many is too many?
Well, 3 might be too many. As Canyon's doing that thing where he's playing the champion that really struggles to like make hard steal stacks happen, and then he's gone and picked grasp as well. I love it.
Yeah, that was what we saw most of originally, specifically the grasp and Heartsteel Skarner. Grasp kind of then was dropped in favor for the more, I think, more reliable and more consistent Aftershock. But I do also think that if you do get a good Grasp game, it can go pretty hard. And there is a lot of easy Grasp stacks on the enemy team, right? They're all very short range. I think particularly when you're playing into the type of compositions where you need to be very on point with your main engage, you need to go in and like basically flashy or get big engages. Aftershock is great, but I don't mind it here because realistically you are going to be doing a whole lot of fighting because T1 is going to continuously look to force fights.
This is kind of crazy, by the way, Chronicler. 2 of the 3 losses that Gen.G have had this season in the LCK are on Azir.
That is kind of crazy. I do think that is probably due to the fact that back then Talia was still a champion that made it through and we did that trade a lot.
Oh, that's true.
Which in recent times has not been happening.
Well, Jace has also been struggling into the Scion, as we can see. And Duro is currently struggling here in this lane on the bottom side of the map. We expect T1 to do this, right? They often do play for lane dominance. And the Lovers duo certainly gets the job done later on in the game, but against double ranged can be hard. I know technically Rakan is kind of ranged, but he's not really. And this is Gumayusi exerting that pressure, utilizing the fact that his arrow just goes further than the feathers. All right, let's see whether it's going to work out. So far, so good, especially on the top side of the map in what has been a difficult matchup for the Jace. This is the time where the Jace can put on the most pressure. Of course, it's more about weathering the storm on the side of the Scion. And Keen is doing a good job so far making sure that that does happen. Standing out of queues and things like that, as we're learning right now. As once again, there's a handshake towards the bottom side. Good sidestep there as wow. That was a few Blight stacks already stacked up there.
Yeah, that would have really not allowed him to have any presence in the lane whatsoever. Chovy, he's just farming grasp stacks, as mentioned. I do expect he's just going to go for an early Leandries, because there are a lot of great targets on the enemy team. We've seen him do this a lot.
Yep. Ooh, Oner going to be moving in here as he has to juke it. The flash is actually going to be employed as Chovy, not willing to die this early on. Gets another grasp stack on the back end, but that is high value from Oner as he moves back towards his newly respawning Raptors.
I thought he probably dodged the charm.
Yeah, I think he was actually already out.
Yeah, but not wanting to run the risk. And what this allows you to do is, Azir is one of the champions where the flash is good, but I don't think it's strictly essential to be safe in lane. The only thing now is that if you do get, you know, flash charmed on, you don't really have any response. Well, responding to that is always going to be hard. But you do have enough health, because if you get hit by a charm, even if you don't die, you flash afterwards.
Yeah.
You will be down a teleport. You know, Chovy loves to play for lane, so with that, he will be able to maintain a very high level of presence in his lane and not have to go back just yet. Faker also looking for a base. We have the swap coming through here from Keen, and then him deciding that, nope, not going to do that afterwards. So Doran missing the timing there on the Q.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate because he had to take the cannon. The cannon was more important, so the cannon was about to die, and so he had to make the choice. Do I knock up the Jace, or do I take the cannon? And he takes the cannon, and I think he made absolutely the right call. Just wanted to point out that Doran did not miss the timing. He chose the better one.
Oh, that's a valid call out, Atlas. Thank you. Very important.
He missed that one though.
Why?
What does it all mean?
Keen is playing on the range, right? Like
he is, yeah. All right, Canyon will be just completing his next full clear. He's going to be the Grump going down. We'll see whether he does actually elect to go for anything. As we can see, the Mountain Drake has already been started by T1. Oner in position.
Yeah, we have kind of opposite stories here, where on Gen G, Keen is going to try and apply as much pressure in lane as he can, whereas Doran is looking to outskill, and then for Gen G, it's the opposite.
Yep.
All that Gen G bot lane wants to do is get to a point where they can just eat up these waves, get Ruler to 2 items, and Duro gets to be freed up, hopefully for him eventually, to make an impact on this Rakan. Engage potential for him is obviously off the charts.
All right, got a bit of an engage here. As Gumayusi just going to Ghost, gets himself out of the way very nicely. As Canyon looking to make a little bit of a drive-by happen. He's just going to pick up a rock, runs around with it a little bit. He's like, hey guys, I got a cool rock, and then he leaves. At least I assume that's what he said. I don't want to assume comms, but
knowing Canyon,
it's likely that that's what he said.
Knowing Canyon, you just said,
yeah, probably. Maybe. That's
seen the man get, like, get panas and be like,
Yeah, no, that's actually, that could be his pentakill response.
But if you, it's like, you know, with Wookiees, if you know Canyon, you know what he means. He's just not saying, or Groot.
Yeah, Groot. It's just a different I am Groot, or I am Canyon. That's all right. Faker dashing forward here. Remember, Chovy, no flash available. The charm is still going to go wide. Great sidestep as he throws Faker under the turret. The Sand Soldiers come out, and Chovy is well and truly okay. Faker looking a little worse for wear at the end of this one.
What a sequence there. So if I caught it correctly, so Chovy tried to shuffle out, then Faker flashed to cancel the dash, but then both the charm and the W from Xin Zhao went wide. So Chovy still survives. The flash is invested.
And the flash is going to come back up now earlier.
So, yeah, so Faker blocks the dash, but then the charm misses, the W misses. And
yeah, he's just like, no flash.
Ice cold.
Damn. And that was like picking a juke there from Faker as well. He was trying to assume that Chovy was going to sidestep because he moves forward and you know the charm is coming. And Chovy just did not move at all. Kind of reminds me of his Corki, actually, where he gets jumped on by an Ambessa and just presses Gatling gun and does nothing and wins the trade. As all right, Logistic Protocol coming on over as Ruler, just barely out of range from that handshake. As Canyon might be able to defend this control ward, and in fact he can. Chovy with some priority here in this mid lane. And right now, Chovy, the big difference here in this game with that extra priority, with that extra control. But here on the top side, Ruler can actually give up on these caster minions, and Canyon able to take that one away.
Mistake from Oner.
Yeah, no smite necessary.
Oner, a little early in the smite there. I think it was down to 40 health. Canyon got it with the big rock.
Yep. Sometimes all you need to do is throw a rock at it, and that's going to solve your problems. I wouldn't use that at all in real
Great life advice, Adler.
Yeah, not very good life advice. As Chovy not wanting to face check Faker, who's charming, but not charming enough against this guy's Zia. And Oner will be able to secure the majority of the grubs in the end. So that is going to be kill credit. 2 objectives already done. As Keen going to deny Doran that Q. It was a bit cute, but not actually going to work out. Barmy Cinder completed here for the Scion. As much help as possible, pushing these waves back is what he's elected for, but he's down 20 CS, as you'd expect in this matchup early on. And not going to be exactly somewhere you're seeing big advantages grow. T1 still in a fine position. The problem is we're seeing a few of these cracks start to occur. And they've tried to try and put Chovy down, things like this. He's still grasp stacking, as we're seeing, still going about his business. And we know that Gen.G's composition, and Gen.G as a team, just get pretty good at winning later on in the game.
Yeah. Ready to do. Flash now back available for Chovy. Faker still going to have his on cooldown for a while. Would expect Gen.G to at least consider putting some pressure towards this Drake, but the second Drake they can still give up. It's really the third Drake where there is a need to fight.
Yep.
As opposed to maybe we want to. Given the base timers though, I think they are swapping Ruler back down, which would make sense. With an attempt to try and play towards this Dragon.
Yep, you've also got both teleports being held by our top laners, so
yeah.
Keen going to just wander his way back up there. This wave is going to crash. No cannon in sight, though, so that is going to be a couple of these melees perhaps falling down before the Jace gets in. Never mind, it's just going to be one of them. And just to the skies, we'll be able to take that one down very nicely.
Does allow Doran to set up a little bit of additional vision. Chovy TPing back. Would imagine. Okay, doesn't quite have it yet, but he is going for the Leandries as we expected.
Oh yeah.
Does have his Dark Seal now done. Faker going back to the Rod of Ages build, it looks like. As the Prio now big, as expected. We want, or I thought Gen.G was going to pivot towards the bot side, but instead might be looking for a punish here towards Doran. Wanting to let this Dragon go. Knows T1 is always going to play for that.
Yep. Over he goes. Canyon just going to drive the Scion back. And remember, he used the ulti to get to lane. So he's just going to get impaled and destroyed. That's going to be first blood going over to Canyon. They do trade the Dragon for it. But as you said, maybe not necessary to exactly fight for that one. As another Chemtex or Orcs. What the heck, dude? You're in the space right now.
I think he's too busy thinking of how to roast me, and he's not doing his job properly.
Yeah, well, I mean,
may I have a talking to him, Atlas?
I think this is one of the bits of feedback we're going to need to give off. There's a few of them. He's kind of gone off the rails. As okay, plate not going to get taken just yet. Teleport back in for Doran. Especially comfortable to use that now as the Dragon has gone down. Next thing going to be the Rift Herald in 3 minutes.
Yeah, so call from Gen.G there is we're not strong enough to actually fight for the Dragon, because otherwise I think they might have at least made a cursory glance. Instead, looking for the cross-map. Cross-map is successful, but T1 is also not too sad. I do think that this is one of the teams where, like, looking at what they have, Chemtech ain't bad. Obviously, would you have Red or have Hextech or Inferno? Yes, I'm not... Yeah, trying to, not be.
I mean, it is good to talk down to it for the memes, though, because I was talking about how amazing it was just one game ago.
Okay, but it actually was, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's still fun.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. It is. Well, that's funny coming from you, because you would never stand for cloud slander.
No. Well, actually, I mean, that's called lying. It's very different. I'm all about honesty.
Everything's about perspective, Apple.
Yeah. Well, Dura is going to be dancing away, and the Chains of Corruption not really doing too much of anything at all. It was an attempt on the Bramble back, but you can see just a bit of repositioning and not going to be able to take that one down. So Ruler will be able to get his red buff that he was looking for as Keen and Doran continuing to fight. But man, it's feeling, even though it's 1,000 gold for Gen.G, does still feel like it's on a knife's edge.
It is.
Because this is still, we're getting to a point in the game where T1 will be inherently stronger in a neutral game state. And Gen.G need to wait a little bit longer before we reach that point. And even then, if Doran's in a good spot, then that may never come.
It's so interesting. This is really a game one. This is either only game ones or game fives feel like this.
It feels like a jostling for position.
Because in game one, you're kind of filling each other out. And unless either team is in a much more spot, I think that generally those games are slower. And then in game five, it's the pressure. Faker
just slammed into the wall. The Impale as well. He had absolutely no option. Nothing he was allowed to do. The utilization of the built terrain there, gorgeous from Gen.G. And Faker is going to be punished for being underneath his outer turret in the bottom lane. The answer is going to be there, though, and this is something that T1 have been very, very good, trading Faker for other stuff. And that is going to occur. Some plates do go on over.
They get a good amount of pressure on mid. They're also able to send Doran towards, but that still means they're a member down. And guess what? Doran is entering bot wave. Faker doesn't have TP. Keen is going to feast, even has Demolish.
Oh, just barely the plates go down, but he does get one of them.
Still gets one. As we take another look here, just watch this. Faker doesn't get to play the knock-up into the ultimate from, or knock-up rather, into the E from Kenyan, into the ultimate, into the Rakan CC. Legitimately, no counterplay potential there for Faker the moment that CC chain starts. The only downside for Gen G is that kill went to Canyon, not to Chovy, which obviously is something that you would have preferred. Now, outside of Guma, it is actually going to be hard to kill Canyon as the game goes on.
Especially if he keeps getting all of the kills.
Yes, and also he has actually been pretty active, so those heart steal stacks and grass stacks.
He's grasping.
They're adding up, and we're slowly starting to see this gold shift further towards Gen G, and this is kind of the critical point, because either T1 finds a great skirmish, often around Otacon or around the Herald, right? Or Gen G just keep doing this for 10 minutes and T1 never gets to play the game.
Yeah. And then,
those are kind of the two
or they do it
I see.
until the Nexus explodes on the other side of the map, is kind of, I assume, what they're going to try and do here. As the Charm is going to connect onto Canyon, who's looking to drive away. Faker gets in front of him. Great handshake to keep him in position. But not too much more is going to come through, and this is what happens when he takes all of the kills. It's going to be a Charm connecting. Chains of Corruption come down as well with the target presented. And Keen, he's definitely killable as out goes Oner. And they're able to just take the Jace from underneath the unkillable Skarner.
Some pretty big mistakes there, actually. Kind of getting caught off guard. There's first some anti-synergy between T1. And then Keen thinking, well, Canyon's out. I should be fine as well. The re-engage.
Oh dear, Doran flashing for it. Does find the Charm. Hostile takeover is fantastic, though, as Oner possibly separated, but in goes Chovy. Gumayusi not going to get bailed out of this one as Oner gets on top of the Emperor, and the knock-up is there. The 1-2 punches from Gen G are continuing as finally down goes the Skarner, but I don't know whether Doran is going to be able to do much more. The flash comes out from Chovy to answer. The flash forward from Doran. And Gen G will find the teamfight victory, and the Rift Herald wasn't even taken.
What a sequence of events!
Was it all a bait in the end?
No, I think Keen just made a mistake. I hope we get that whole reel, because maybe some jitters for the teams, but first T1, what felt like an overinvestment, then Keen walking back into it with a nice charm from Faker, but then the fight set up for Gen G. As we're going to take a look. So Canyon gets caught here. This is fine. Then Keria here. I'm pretty sure he did want to go over that wall.
And the handshake had a bit of a miss with Oner's Wind Becomes Lightning, but that didn't really matter that much.
It makes it, but still the damage I think maybe could have made a difference. But then Oner is able to follow up on
and
that
he's
play.
actually just booped back by Keen as well, that's why the Impale didn't work. Oh, no,
so,
I missed that the first time.
A lot of no, I think it was the ult from Oner, but it might be either. But then here, Duro very early gets Guma in a rough position, and then Chovy comes in for the Giga flank. And that's kind of the end of it. Yes, they still take down Canyon, but this is a very favorable trade that I think Gen G are going to be really happy with. Also, a lot of sums used, and that means no flash for Guma. That's a great fight.
We are fighting immediately as Oner goes in. Already Keen is down, and there goes Duro as well. Out will go Gen G. They're trying to escape, but Faker, he is just spirit rushing after Chovy. The Charm once again going to miss, and it's a two-man Impale, but there's no one left. Oner will finally, Ruler, will finally come in to try and hit Oner, but Ruler's out. He realizes that it's getting too hot in the kitchen as the Flash Charm doesn't land. And Chovy will be able to make it out alive. My God, okay, Chovy goes in! He finds Gumayusi and he's looking to try and make his way out those grass stacks. Really working overtime, but now he may have put his team in an uncomfortable position. It's Ruler versus 4, and T1 are still running away. You're exactly right, that Featherstorm is so powerful here as the teleport comes in and T1 say, all right, you can live, Mr. Ruler. No one's taking the Drake, not right about now.
It's the prestige, Atlas. It's just all misdirection. I keep getting caught off guard. Where is Michael Caine to explain everything?
We need him! Alfred, where are you? Okay, it wasn't Alfred in that movie, he was in a different one.
That's fine, it's the same character.
Yeah, fair enough.
So much. So, it starts off disastrous for Gen G. I think Keen and Duro get clipped by this Q from Doran. So the fight is, or so it looks, immediately donezo.
Yep, that's the pin play. We saw that.
I want you to look at Chovy's movement here, because it's actually insane.
Oh my
Look at that! And then as a result, Canyon gets the follow-up, but Ruler isn't quite in a position to follow up immediately. Has to flash out of the Q, which means Oner lives. Chovy then again dodges after the flash from Faker.
Going in here though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the actually mind-boggling part to me, because I was about to give Chovy credit for his movement in that fight, and that we've seen him do. But going in there, in that position, that's kind of insane to me. And then the follow-up is that, yeah, the Dragon goes to Gen G, but the gold, it's still close to 2K. That's parity to me, Atlas.
Yep, and the Rift Herald is going to be attempted again. The amount of ground we got as far as objectives were concerned was 0. But now T1 with the positional advantage, they will be able to take it down. The Dragon was secured by Gen G, so I tell a little bit of a lie there, but it is an even trade as far as the objectives are concerned. Feats of Strength went over to Gen G though, and this is becoming a little bit of an issue. The guy with a hammer in the bottom lane is just really breaking things.
He will not do damage to Doran though.
Oh, Chains of Corruption. Oh, Ruler able to walk his way out. The good old walk strategy. It's been a while since we've spoken about that one, but it works very well for Ruler in that instance. Of course, had Cleanse, so it would have been okay, but Chains of Corruption can spread. So it could have been dangerous.
Chovy really leaning into the utility angle here, by the way.
Yeah, this is looking like a return to like the classic tank without the Frozen Heart.
Yeah, this is this is just the brand build now.
Yeah, or like Aurelian Soul from back in the day.
Yep.
And actually, it's the Mordekaiser build as well.
When you look at the setup, though, it makes sense, because Ruler by himself is going to probably have enough damage to deal with everything. Only one on Gen G that's having a bit of a rough time is Keen. I think that his laning phase was good, but he has been getting caught off guard a little bit more than necessary. And again, Doran is not taking damage. He has Frozen Heart, played Steel Caps. It's just not realistic too much he can do. I would imagine Chovy is going to go for like Void next, and then go from there, because you do really need...
Unless he goes like Rift Maker and like goes really weird.
So I think once Ruler has LDR, it doesn't really matter as much, but we are now getting to the point where Sion has so much health, and it might be really hard to get through him in these extended fights, because Chovy doesn't really want to just be autoing Sion the whole time. We'll
Unless he probably does, because like the amount of number goes up that you get from that, like the grasp stacks, and oh man, like that's all he wants to do actually, Chronicler. The problem is he might be in range of the Frozen Heart, which could be a problem. Charm is going to come on through as Oner is going to be discovered here as Canyon holds him in place, but this is just a 1v1 happening in two different spots. Emperor's Divide to get rid of him as Chovy says, "Get away from me," and he says yes. Crescent Guard going to keep Oner alive, and in the end, it's a stalemate.
What I want to highlight, though, is that even though that fight ended up feeling good for Gen G, because of the kills at the beginning, the gold lead still shrunk. Right after that whole sequence, this, though, with Oner not having his ultimate and have it to back, I think this Otacon is always going to be gone.
Yep, there's a train.
It's the fight afterwards, though.
You're exactly right. So it should be this Otacon going down, but there is the flash forward. A phenomenal knock-up from Doran, and he's getting in amongst it. Canyon trying to drive his way out. Let's see whether Ruler can keep himself alive as the Featherstorm comes in. He flashes away. Will he have the Blade Caller? That's the question. As Gumayusi's underneath the turret, he's got the bailout. He is still going to die, as now Keen is trying to get the work done. And yes, you got the Otacon, but it's a 1 for 3.
Trade favorable for T1 when it comes to kills, but Otacon, particularly in a game as close as this, I think can actually be a really big win if Gen G gets to use the fighting. This time Chovy is just caught, not ready, and there's no smite, so the objective goes to Gen G, but the mid lane turret falls. The kills are traded, and T1 rather do a great job of making this gold lead just a little bit smaller as Canyon.
Yeah, looks for the Impale, but sometimes just the raw Impale doesn't really work. And that's going to happen again.
If you get flash, that's nice. Not getting anything is somewhat rough. As we take another look here, Chovy trying to stand guard, but it's the flash ult from Doran.
Yeah.
On this Scion that sets it up.
All right, Keria gonna have to flash the Emperor's Divide here as Oner goes in and then goes back out. Understandably so. This game is so action-packed and so close. It's absurd.
It was basic. It was 10 minutes, 15 minutes of exposition, and now it's action, 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 action. And guess what? We're about to fight again.
Control Ward goes in. Keen able to take that one down. Doesn't find the Shock Blast though. As all right, Doran will get knocked up. Of course, he's very happy to take damage. He's Scion. And Chemtech Dragon number 2.
No Chovy ult. I think they have to let this one.
Yeah, that's going to be Soul Point.
They're going to let it go. Soul Point going over.
Yeah.
T1 not giving them an open. Went down to 1.
Down to 1. Yeah, the Charm is going to miss once again though. As now fight on a couple of different fronts. As flipping in is Keen and trying to throw away Doran, but he's a brick wall. And now the knockup comes through again, but if you're engaging onto the Scion, it's what T1 wants, unless they're not able to find an inroad. And Doran, he'll try to get bailed out. They will take the Rakan, and the bailout actually works. And now Chovy's trying to free hit. Oner is down so incredibly low. The Shock Plus, they're going to defend him. But still this turret is going to fall. Chovy trying to find the Sand Soldier damage. And they clear out the minion wave. And T1 will be sticking around. It's a 1-for-0 in favor of T1. They take the Dragon as well. They're trading up. The gold is still there for Gen G. But T1 are still getting what they want in this game.
It's a thriller Atlas. Kenyon still as his Impale is going to try and deliver Oner. Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful Impale. Still Kane's going to get traded. It's just trades everywhere. Faker able to pick that one up. Now the hostile takeover just zoning them away. Ruler doing a fair bit of damage here as they're just looking to steal away a bread buff. They will be able to do that as Faker just cannot chunk Chovy today. He can't do it. Canyon goes in. He's going to go out via the Death Chamber, and Chovy will find an Emperor's Divide onto 3, but doesn't get Guma, and he will take him down. Ruler here going to have to use a max range ulti, avoiding Faker's damage as well, as Ruler's positioning has been fantastic, but that Blade Caller could have been better. And Gen G, they will keep a couple alive, but once again, it's a great trade for T1.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, if Oner was closer, if the cooldowns were there, they might have gone. As let's take a look at where this all began. As we go all the way back, while Chovy and Faker are fighting, the rest of Gen G is going in aggressively. They want to try and use the fact that T1 played for the Dragon to play for this mid lane turret. And then they do actually get Doran, but as we highlighted, with the items they have right now, especially without Chovy, they just don't quite have the damage. Duro gets CC, gets blown up, Doran stays alive. But then Chovy comes in, his and Ruler's damage means that T1 takes so much. And then I think it's here where things start to go a little bit iffy for Gen G. This play is great. Oner still has a ton of damage. If Keen doesn't miss that shock blast, by the way, this play is fine. Like, he doesn't die. That's the end of it. Really, another example of those little movement abilities not quite working out. And then here,
oh, the bluff! I think he got trolled. Didn't he get trolled?
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it Ruler?
It was Ruler. I'm
no!
Sure. And then Chovy tries to salvage the play, ends up going down. But because no objective falls, this whole sequence, I think, is relatively even with all the kills, with the turrets still going down, but the Dragon going. But the gold lead is kept again within that 2K range.
It's virtually nothing. But as this game goes on, the more value T1 are going to get from this Scion. We can see already that he takes a lot of killing.
I gotta say that once Ruler hits the critical mass of, he has his IE already, once he gets what I assume will be a Mortal Reminder, but once that comes through, if that thing happens to Doran again, wait, he's dead. Like, he will not live. There is absolutely no shot. The Xayah damage will become a much bigger issue, and that's kind of where I think T1 have more pressure on. Can this comp win a fight late game? Yes, absolutely. But I do think their execution becomes a lot tougher because Oner, Faker, Guma have to put themselves in a position of risk to really get a lot of value out of their kits when it gets later into the game. For Gen G, I just don't think that quite rings the same. But no, 1K goal, it's basically nothing.
It's nothing. It is
T1 is the objective lead, right? Because they do have those 3 dragons. And Gen G, if they can get an actual team fight where they can use the power, there it is. Lord Dump's done for Ruler now.
Tower goes down in the mid lane as well, so inner turret now missing. Going to extend that gold lead basically nowhere. I said extend. I tell a lie. 1.2 means nothing at all. Chovy clearing out these wards. Riftmaker done. The battle Azir well and truly in position, as he's going to now escape towards that top side. Doran just moving in front of things is going to be his job this game, and he's very good at it.
The fact this top lane turret is still up is kind of insane. I feel like we've seen like 15 plays where it just ends because top lane turret is still up.
Yep. Well, Duro might be in a little bit of danger here, as he needs to be careful of Keria. Canyon moving away from Faker, who finds him on a potential flank angle. Wind becomes lightning, and the battle dance is going to get Duro out. As Keen wanting to take some pot shots if he can. But look at this, the Doran stand in front of it tactic.
Yeah, they do need Chovy or Ruler. No one else is going to...
Okay, so flash forward as Faker is caught out, and they dive on top of him, but the counter knockups are fantastic. Emperor's Divide only onto Oner is good for T1, as Gumayusi looking to get bailed out, and it's going to work, and the charm this time lands! Double kill for Gumayusi, and T1 just leave them in the dirt. Ruler's wondering what the heck happened, and he will use his ult, he will try, but the blade calls nothing, and T1 say it's Baron time.
I'm shocked. I thought they were going to actually look for the end. I've seen T1 do this a million times, but no, instead, they play it safe. We go for Baron, we go for Soul, as Gen G. That ult from Keria, I think, ends up being the game decider. This Renata has been such an incredible nuisance for Gen G. I want you to look at the health bars and the bailout value. So this starts off with Canyon trying to go in on Keria, because if you 100-0 this Renata, you can win this fight, but instead, look at that ultimate. Duro gets blown up. Faker is able to get out of the ultimate from Chovy, and then the bailout on Guma here. If Guma dies, Chovy kills Faker, and Ruler might at least be... you give up the dragon. You lose the soul no matter what, but maybe, just maybe, you can stop the Baron, but instead, Ruler is just left alone. Doesn't find the recall he needed, and I don't know if there was a recall that did get him. And now T1, soul in hand, and a decisive gold lead.
Man, what a game. This is game number 1. The Chemtech Soul comes through for T1. They have been behind in gold the entire game, but that stops now, as it is over 4,000 the lead for them at this stage.
Oh, the win streak of Gen G.
Yep, remember 18 games had not been done before. They were trying to extend it. And I don't know whether it's going to extend past this, as T1 here in this first game are looking poised to win. Charm going to go wide as Chovy finds 3! The Impale does as well, and Ruler is just able to free hit. Down goes Gumayusi. They deal with the turret, but Doran is so incredibly low. Chovy is still going to die in this fight. Canyon is just trying to keep them interested as T1 look to back away. It's a big fight, but it's only a 2-for-1 thus far. Can Gen G get more? That's going to be the question as the handshake from Keria. Oh, lock in the POM already. I don't care who wins.
If I ever see anyone say that Chovy doesn't have clutch, I am so sick of it, Atlas. My God! As Faker goes in, the charm goes wide again. And it's a 3-man ultimate on the 2 core damage dealers of T1. Is this enough to win the game? No, not even remotely.
Oh,
but it kills.
Barely avoid. Like Faker almost survived there. It was almost just a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
바로스 넘길게.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was just like, I found Varus.
Into the immediate zone, yes, to ensure that he doesn't get clipped by the Renata. And again,
그래도 이러면은 나쁘지 않다. 그냥 300원 손해 정도?
We'll probably get a translation of that one for you guys.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Again, all this does is mean that the Baron doesn't end the game. But that's enough, right? Like, now this means that they might give up a turret or 2, they might fall behind, but that's not going to be enough to ensure that we are not getting an Elder flip for our first game.
Oh, that is what we need. And what Faker said was the situation isn't that bad. That's basically what he said.
It's true.
He's going to find a charm. This situation's bad, but if you're a Gen G fan, as they eliminate the jungler, and T1, they get rid of the biggest tank on the side of Gen G as well. Next one going to be Chovy as far as that is concerned, and so now Doran just able to stand up. The charm is going to hit the minion. As T1 are just fishing for it. Gen.G have defended this turret pretty expertly though, as you can see. It has taken and damage, I think. They are going to look for a reset now. Oner clearing out the enemy jungle, and he can without Canyon alive. But like, as the dust settles, it's like 5,000 gold. We're going to see this pick, right? And this looks like a big deal, and I screamed and yelled a lot. But ultimately, like, the Dragon was 3 minutes away. The Baron had just been taken.
That charm does hit the mark. The big Scorpion going to get taken down. But this, really, again, the key play was the play on top side, because it meant that the base is intact. It means that there will be no inhibitor waves pushing into Gen.G. Quick Blade's now done for Ruler. Even though he's stayed alive in a lot of these fights, also feels like T1 have been doing a really good job of ensuring that he's always on the outskirts, not quite able to do quite as much.
Yeah, you can see Gumayusi as well. He's got his Jack shows done. This guy is very, very close to maximum items. This is the on-hit Varus. He can get through these very health-ridden targets that we're seeing out of Chovy and Canyon. Canyon's starting to build up a bunch of armor as well, but
Serpent's Fang, love that Keen. Good
Yep,
call.
that's a big pickup. As yeah, Chovy fighting against Doran. This will take a while, but it is about both of them just clearing waves into one another. And now, as you can see, with the gold advantages, there's 3,000 in the lead for just Oner against Canyon. That means nothing.
So, Chovy will be very close to his flash cooldown. I don't know if Chovy has his flash as well. That's obviously one of the big cooldowns to look for. The other one is Guma, who does have his available now, which means that for the upcoming fight, play like that from Chovy not going to be nearly as easy. I gotta say the parallels of it being Ruler versus Guma, and then it's Guma on Varus, and then Chovy.
Yeah.
It's I'm kind of loving it.
There's a lot of narrative.
There is so much narrative, but we don't have time because the game's too good.
It is.
So those sums very big. The other one is Keria. Keria to me has been the biggest factor in T1 winning these fights. His ultimate getting an insane amount of value so many times. That and the bailouts is, I think, why we saw Canyon try to like kill Keria in a combo, right? Because if the Renata dies, I think the T1 comp does really start to fall apart. But with how impactful he's been,
I mean, he's just been so good in these fights as well. Every single time the bailout is exactly where it needs to be.
The ultimate and the, what probably should be the final fight, Atlas, is about to take off. Chovy has a stopwatch.
He has his teleport as well, as he's all the way in. Oner taking some shock blast damage, but he doesn't really care about it too much. Remember, Chemtech Soul going to be powerful here as T1 wastes no time. They've started this up. Doran just trying to stand in front. It's looking a little 50-50-ish for now.
As on the ward.
Yeah, spotted on a flank angle, but they also know he's there because they just got hit by a shock blast.
Are we flipping? Are we flipping?
Oh god, we are. We're flipping. It's going to be Canyon that locks down the Dragon. Oner is in so much trouble. Empress Divide picks them all up, and it's Gen.G that finds the value. Chovy can rest easy now as 4 are lying on the floor, and Doran is not going to be able to do it alone. Gen.G not going to be broken in their win streak. They'll move it to 19 instead.
The hardest part of any story is the ending.
It's not even the end, Chronicler.
No, I mean of this game.
It's game 1 of regular season Gen.G versus T1 round 2.
Oh my god. No, but like, that can't be. It's just a flip. Canyon wins. The game is done.
Do you know what it was, Chronicler? It was a flip. Canyon wins. And that's game 1, ladies and gentlemen. The Nexus will be taken down. Oh.